Hello, and welcome to Tarot Time. And there's a lot to talk about. And if you recall, last Tarot Time, we talked about a very active week that was coming up last week. And we had, unfortunately, the horrific California, LA fire, the dropping of fact-checking on Facebook, a lot of statements from the incoming president about things that are going to be unfolding in his term. We talked about in the what was it? The January forecast, the 2025 forecast, and the seasonal forecast that January is going to get off to a very, very fast start. And here we are, the 12th day, and a lot's happened already. So on Tarot Time, what we do, we try to work with the energies of the week, get some information through tarot and other divination tools about what may be going on in your lives personally, in our community, as well as the world around us, and see how that relates to things. So anyways, I'll say a few quick hellos while people are getting their notifications, and we'll dive right on into this. So I hope everybody's doing okay. It's Sunday morning. If you're watching this live, if you're watching this as a video, well, welcome. We'll get started in a minute. And yeah, a lot going on, a lot more to happen. So let me grab some water. Hey, Tracy, Yvonne, Brooke, Katie, Suzette, Lisa, Kiss, Star, I think, Doreen, welcome. Chris, hi, Judy, hi, Yolanda. Oh, you've been busy. Carla, welcome. Laura, welcome. Jody, Roseanne, Michael, welcome. I don't even know where to start. So a lot's being revealed, basically. That's the bottom line. This is what we've been talking about for months, that this period, that this was like the shift. We're in the shift. We're in the Aquarian portal right now. That's the Aquarian gateway portal. I kind of coined that to be honest and fair about things. But we're coming into Aquarius season. Pluto's in 1 degree Aquarius. This is like the unveiling. This is the time where all the illusion to delusion are really coming up and coming out. Let me put my glass on so I can see what you guys are seeing. What snake appeared in your dreams this morning? Well, we're coming to the year of the snake in 2 weeks. Hello, Candy. Hello, Karen. Hello, Leah. Oh gosh, it's a lot of people coming in. Wasn't everyone from Texas? Hi, Shirley. Hi from the Canadian prairies from Karen. Welcome. Yeah, what do snakes do? They shed their skin and they transmute poison into medicine. Let's transmute the poisons that are going on in the world. Of course, the big news is the LA fire. I caught wind of that on the morning. My first thought about was there's something wrong with this. Now, it's so fresh and people are suffering and being displaced. It's such an active story. I don't want to nail a lot of conspiracy theories in on that at this time, but the feeling that I had is like, this is not right. And it was just an intuition. I have nothing to back that up, just to be clear about that. And what we're going to hear a lot in the weeks coming is about the DEW, or the direct energy weapons, that this was an attack. We're going to hear a lot about the reservoirs being emptied prior, that the reservoir system was shut off before the fires. I don't know if this is true or not. I haven't been fact checking. I don't have time to do all this stuff, but apparently a lot of fire insurance was cut off months before this. So that, again, when looking at the, conspiracy facts versus conspiracy theories, or there's some of them are just more like rabbit holes or distractions, a lot of the in my opinion anyway, but some of them are factual. You want to follow the money, follow the power. Is there a reason for it? Now, we talked about a very bad fire season in some of my forecasts this winter. We talked about an earthquake in that area, and I don't think that's off the table by any means in January to maybe February. But I'm wondering if I was cross-referencing things psychically, because I'm seeing a lot of activity and a lot of displacement around LA in that area. Maybe I was just picking up on the fires. I don't know. It's interesting. I think it was Ralph Smart, but there's somebody on YouTube that was literally seeing the Hollywood sign burning, and I think their interpretation was just the cabal connected to Hollywood was coming down, and that could be part of it also. I think it was Ralph Smart, but if you guys know, let me know. But a couple of people literally picked up on that. I tend to get more of the energy. My gift, I feel, is more about preparing people for the changes and providing spiritual tools to get us through these energetic shifts. But from time to time, I do get very specific things. So anyway, that's going on. And, I think it's going to be even more eventful. So, if you guys want to chime in on that, feel right. The Maui fire. So thank you, Carla, for that. That immediately raised my suspicion. I think this morning off. So it is getting a little bit active. Earthquake this morning, 2:30, but all good. Thank goodness. Yeah. So let's just kind of play. We'll get into some tarot in a minute. If you're new to tarot time, this is like our community hour. So we tend to toss around ideas, talk about what's going on, and then we get into some tarot and divination stuff as the hour or the hour plus goes on. But consider this possibility. Now, remember July, I think it was June or July 2023, where all the Canadian fires in Eastern Canada sprung up. I woke up one morning and I saw it. It just looked weird. I just felt this isn't right. Something weird's going on. So I found out there were fires in Canada. There was a northeast wind that blew it down the Hudson Valley. All right, that can happen. Then I was hearing there's over 100 fires. You're sparked by dry thunderstorms. So I looked on the weather maps. The radar, the satellite was clear. I didn't see any evidence of thunderstorms in that area. I checked it a couple of days later. I couldn't even find the maps, to be honest with you. Now, conditions were conducive. It was warm for, it was pretty hot. It was pretty dry, all that stuff. And then like 100 fires from dry thunderstorms. I mean, it's possible, but those are much more common in the West. Those are very unusual to have thunderstorms without rain. That's in meteorology, we call those high base thunderstorms, that the rain actually evaporates before it hits the ground. You get that out in the desert. You get that out west. You don't get that so much in the East. So anyway, then there was Maui. Then there was, I think, something in Mexico, right? There's a fire. Was it the El Reno, or there's another one in California, then there's this one. But just say what if back in 2023, they were testing the direct energy weapons in Canada, in rural areas, not other than the smoke, not a lot of people were directly affected by those fires. Then we had the Maui fires, then we had this. We'll see what reports come out of that. But the reports that came out of Maui at the time was like, there's a brilliant flash, and then everything was ablaze. We heard that even from, I don't think it was FEMA, National Guard that was stationed in Maui. We heard these reports from officials. And then the reason that was presented was, there were high winds and the electrical wire went down, and because it was dry in the high wind, it all went up into an inferno. That's not possible. That's not possible. Even in 100-mile-an-hour Santa Ana winds, or there's a tropical storm, there's 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds off of Maui. What would happen if things were tinder dry and wires went down? There'd be a small flame. It would quickly catch, and then the area would catch on fire. But that would take a minute or two. That wouldn't be like there's a flash and all of a sudden everything's ablaze. From everything that I know, again, this is my opinion, just to be clear about that, my observations and opinions. If you have different opinions, as long as you're kind about it, please, and I'll keep an eye out on that. So in any event, so what's Lindsay saying? Burning and flooding. We have big fires here and then huge floods. So where are you, Lindsay? Was that in California also, or somewhere else? We had some fires here in the Catskills not that long ago also. So anyway, it's a theory. It's not a conspiracy fact yet. Maybe it is, and I don't know about it. I'm not up on the latest. I just don't have time to be up on the latest. I wish I did. So there is that. There's certainly, in discerning whether a conspiracy theory is factual, it's not rocket science. Follow the money. Money is power. The flow of money. So we see other things that are going on. We could talk about what's going on with the coming inauguration. If that's, it feels like that's happening. So far the pushback hasn't been nearly as bad as what I predicted. Hopefully I'm a little bit off on that part of it. I mean, there's some pushback. When the Biden administration. And I'm all for environmentalism, by the way, but when they declare certain areas off limits for drilling, when it's fully known that the Trump administration wants to rely on more domestic oil, that's pushback, and we've seen others. But if you recall, I did predict the inauguration to go on time on the 20th. Now, I watched about 5 other psychics. The one one of the ones that I really like is Joseph Tittle, because I saw him up at Lilydale years ago, and he did a really fantastic spot on mediumship demonstration up at Lilydale. Excellent evidence. He saw delays, and it could happen. We don't. Also, I meant to say this yesterday. We did a live stream yesterday. Some reason, keep an eye on January 17th. That date pops up in my mind. Something big might happen 16th, 17th, or 18th, right around that time. And maybe that'll something will happen that will delay the inauguration. Until it happens, I'm not going to say anybody's wrong. Then this guy Sterling out of UK, I've seen it a couple of times. I think he's out to lunch personally, but again, that's just. I shouldn't even say that. Cancel that, because that's negative. I don't want to bash anybody else in the field, but I'll put it this way, a couple of his predictions seem really way out there. And again, it could happen. I could wind up beating Crow, but he saw Harris winding up being president. Like, what he saw was that the vote for fraud gets exposed, Musk getting exposed, then Harris being assigned. So I saw a few other, it was very similar information. So maybe it's not set in stone. We'll see what happens. But in any regards, whatever the case, what we're seeing is a lot of drawing lines in the sand. What we're seeing is this New World Order agenda playing out, or that could be one impossible interpretation of what we're seeing. So we're seeing, basically, wanting, the U.S., like America, to be more like an empire or a union, like including Canada, including, areas around Mexico, Greenland. And by the way, there's a lot of undiscovered gold in Greenland, just to put that out there. That the global warming that some people still deny. I think it's fair to conjecture about the cause of it, like what's really behind it, but to deny that the Earth's getting warmer is pretty silly at this point. But anyway, whatever the case, the melting glaciers in Greenland revealed a lot of land, and gold's been discovered, and private prospectors have been buying up land, not land, but rights to mine. And so Denmark is not going to let go of Greenland that easily. And could it be that the U.S. or what forces are behind the Trump agenda? We also saw Trudeau stepping down. So we're seeing a fundamental shift to the far right in world politics. So we're seeing the old world order really dissolving. We're seeing old Earth really crumbling. What is this new world order? Is it another form of control? Is it a form of centralizing everything? Is it a World War III agenda playing out? I don't think it's going to get to World War III, but these are things to keep an eye on, and what's going on and everything. So, what are you guys saying? Jody's saying tons of gold in Scotland. I think personal feelings, exactly, and I try to stay neutral for that reading. Yeah, and that's why I had to stop myself, because it's just not cool to just start to bash on other people in my field. It's like, that's just so uncool. And I apologize for that, but I think that you got that, because I'm sure that him and others like them are very good psychics, but like you said, their personal feelings can get in the way. And Blessed is saying under oceans very, very hot. So maybe there's some agenda. They're heating the oceans from within. It's and that's helping to create it. I mean, you remove all the trees with concrete. And I've been saying all along that's even more of a problem than the burning of the fossil fuels. That's an issue also. But when it comes to global warming, and the trees, look at the grasslands, because the grasslands are much more efficient in converting carbon dioxide to oxygen than trees are. And grasslands, here in the U.S., and what happened in the plains. The grasslands are cut down, and agriculture's in its place. So there's a lot of that going on. So good point. Thank you. Politics terrible, exactly. Removing the trees, concrete causes a lot more tornadoes. All right. With the heating that's possible. But tornadoes can form anywhere. There was myths that tornadoes can't form in mountains. They do. They can't form in cities. They do. So tornadoes form when there's enough wind shear and enough and the dynamics are strong enough. They can form anywhere, basically. And so what else? So I think these are things to keep an eye on. That the world's changing. It's really what it's amounting to is mass exposure of corruption, and a lot of this stuff is really gonna help to bring that out. And it's interesting to note that as the Biden administration's closing shop and the Trump administration's coming in, that now that they're starting to reduce censorship on social media, with the fact checking, which part of it is bogus and all that. So we're seeing a lot of shifts. We're going to see a lot coming out. We're going to see a lot of stress, a lot of challenges, a lot of revolutionary type activity. But truths are coming out, like what's behind, the wars, what's behind everything that's going on, basically. So anyway, what are you guys saying? So you're getting a lot more overcast days. Yeah, the weather's just seen very off, and I'm wondering, also, I know weather modification's real. It's been going on for a while, but the scale of it, in some of my prior live streams, I may have underestimated the scale of it a little bit, because this whole weather pattern just feels like over the U.S. doesn't feel right. Like we had like 4 to 5 solid days of tropical storm force wind gusts here in the Catskills. I've never seen in the 20 plus years I've lived here that long a time where there was that much wind consistently. And we saw an unusual weather pattern where it got very cold south of us, and we wound up getting like this maritime air coming all the way through through eastern Canada down through and into the northeast. So never got super cold here. And then that weather pattern produced the strong Santa Ana effect on the West Coast also. And again, nature could explain all of this, but it didn't. It just doesn't feel right, and then things happen. So basically, big push for solar power. There's that, but solar power. Yeah, exactly, yeah, and oh yeah, okay. So that's a little bit of medical advice. Wind in New Hampshire, also, yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of going on in my years. It just feels like there's a lot of energetic attacks, and that's the other thing. Before I really dive into tarot in just a second, that's the other thing is that there's so much programming. There's so much energetic attacks through radio signals, Wi-Fi signals. One of the theories is that as these cities go down, they build smart cities in their place, like Maui, LA, and so forth. And that uses the Gwen Tower, so that uses these these radio or Wi-Fi signals near the ground, so that these devices will operate. But you can carry all kinds of energetic messages through these signals also. Oh, yeah, a lot is changing, but this is a mass exposure. At the end of the day, this is part of the awakening. The old has to fall. The old facades need to fall on a world that we once knew, so that a new, more enlightened world can come in its place. But there's a lot of struggles, and we're seeing more and more these battles between those forces that want to centralize everything, opposed to that. It's a very fundamental good versus evil. Um, and basically, what the evil or the negative wants is they want to cut us off from our own divinity, from our own power, so that we can be controlled and manipulated by forces that have everything, while meanwhile that we have nothing. So the real attack is on spirituality. It's on our own connection to spirit or source or God that's really under attack and under fire right now. So we have to stay in our heart. Remember, hearts cannot be programmed. This is why heart brain coherence is going to be one of the biggest spiritual practices during this awakening phase, from 2025 through 2030, and so forth. So what do you guys think about the yeah, it's not a bad idea to get off of Wi-Fi for we need breaks, exactly. Exactly, yeah. So very good. Interesting, yeah. So, so yeah, so a lot. And what else are we saying? Thank you, Suzette, for the super sticker. I live in very good. So much health. Good for you. Yeah, yeah, thank you. So this is what a super sticker looks like. So thank you for the donation. I really appreciate that. That's interesting, because I think at the end of the day, let me keep this comment up for a second. Yeah, it's kind of like good versus evil. There's these evil, negative forces, that are working against us. But what if this is exactly what we need to push, what needs to happen in order for us to rise up? Yeah, wouldn't it be ironic if the those that are trying to control and centralize everything wind up being humanity's greatest teachers in the end? This is like the Native American story of the coyote, right? The trickster that tricks us into learning. So absolutely excellent point. Yeah. So anyway, it is tarot time. We're almost 25 minutes in. We haven't done anything with tarot, but again, it's a very, very important shift that's happening right now. This is the gateway. They just UK just popped up in my mind. Be aware of something going on, in the next couple of weeks, around the UK. I don't know if it's like a fire or a storm or something. I'm seeing electrical wires, so there may be some blackouts or things to be aware of. I want to say. All right. So what I like to do is do a meditation card. It's something for us to work with in our meditation for the week. So I'm going to do that now. We do love to talk here. Yeah, this is again our community, and I know I'm missing a lot of your comments. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what else do you guys say? Lots of good stuff. All right. Yeah. We see the clouds forming from the you know chemtrails, contrails. or whatever, whatever the truth is, with that. In the right atmospheric conditions, regular contrails can, create these effect of these, clouds that linger, for a good while. Contrails can do that, on their own, but I just wonder if in the jet fuel themselves, if they're emitting chemicals, and concealing it that way. Because through the years, what I've noticed is that the contrails are thicker than they used to be. I used to see them in the 60s. I used to ask my mom, I'd look up and say, well, why are there, why are the planes leaving these long, thin clouds in the sky? And she would tell me they're just the contrails, they're the condensation trails. So that's not new. So, with the fact checking, we have to be careful about things like that. The normal contrails can leave the trail. They don't necessarily dissipate right away. They do if the atmospheric conditions don't support cloud formation. But a lot of times when you see a lot of those contrails in the sky, you also see cirrus clouds. That's the usual case because there's a reason the cirrus clouds form. The conditions are conducive for warm, moist air, that it's being emitted from the jets to condense into clouds. They do dissipate eventually, but I've seen lower trails like that are more in that classic crisscross. I've witnessed that. I witnessed that one Christmas morning. I was sitting out, and that turned into a cloud. It turned into a cloud. Like I was watching for in about 40 minutes. It turned into a cloud. So I know the chemtrailing is real. I've seen it with my own eyes. And then the fog. That's another thing that happened. The message I got from the master teacher about that was that the fog really wasn't an attack, but that it would cause symptoms for people that were exposed to it. So there is some poison apparently in it. But anyway, but I did a whole little video on that you can check out. So let me pull a meditation card. Reason they show me sports also, and we get something going on with professional sports. I mean, maybe watch the Super Bowl. Well, not literally watch it, but watch what happens around that, because that's a whole like cesspool of mass programming that goes on in the Super Bowls. But they may be revealed that there's a lot of like programming through sports and all that stuff, Hollywood and all that stuff. So anyway, this is a nice card. Queen of Pentacles. So with a meditation card, the idea is you get very, very present. Like any other meditation, you get very present, very open. And then in your mind, when you're present and aware, just step into the card in your mind. And the first thing is, what do you feel? And then you may see other things. This may be one of your guides. So, when you meditate. And the Queen of Pentacles, Pentacles is about the earth. Queens are generally about water elementally. So a lot of it's, may connect with applying more of our divine feminine into our physical lives or stuff like that. But you may get some messages. There's a rabbit in here that can represent abundance. Pentacles can represent money. So maybe the idea is when you do your meditation this week and you step into this card, you can set the intention about things about your own personal finances or how to build that. Money is freedom and power. So oh, interesting, Anna. Yeah. I saw stuff like that. That they were getting, that effect of more rain and stuff like that. So I think you're talking about the fog, right? That people could smell it. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. Of course, direct. Okay, just wait. All right. Wait. This is the one that I wanted to. Energy. So Felicia, you have a YouTube channel also. It's interesting. Oh, the dragons and the angels. Yeah, this is not surprising. There's a lot with fire that we're in. That we are. with a lot of fires. Like I said, that was not LA specifically, but that was prediction about more fires out west and around the world too, not just out west in the U.S. So anyway, let's do a 3 card spell. See if we can pick up anything more about this week. Again, something with January 17th. I don't know if there's some meetings that are going. I'm seeing money and coins. So there may be something really around that. Be aware of changes in the currency and the financial structures. Follow the money, all that stuff. What is it? XRP cryptos. That's getting a lot of attention right now. So looking into the investment, and when I have a little bit of time, I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole. I'm gonna watch some videos and deep dive into crypto, because that's a big deal, for the era that we're coming in. And then I'll share what I get with you guys. I want to do some investing myself, so I want to know what I'm doing here with that. So let's do a 3-card spread. I'm just looking at your comment. It's not a bad idea to be prepared, right? So we come into this year, the snake, that starts on whenever the new moon is, on the 29th. Yeah, that's Lunar New Year and Chinese New Year. So you go into the year of the snake. So shedding the skin, a lot more is going to be exposed. We're just scratching the surface now of things that are being exposed. And what I'm seeing is that, and the master teachers and some of the channelings were saying, in 2022 they declared the light had won. We have this. It's we live in this duality. That's our classroom. It's this duality, light and dark, night and day, good versus evil, and stuff like that. But just because the light's won, when like in a terrestrial war, when an enemy's been defeated, they're going to come back with all they have. They're not going to go down easy. And what we're seeing is it almost like it's just like it's all in our faces. It's almost like they don't care now so much that people know what they're up to. They're doing their stuff anyway. So there's going to be more. Unfortunately, there's going to be more. You said, it seems like it's really, pushing through that new world order, that agenda, that World War III. One of the reasons I don't think that's going to pan out, there's several reasons, but I think, as that's going on and people are looking at the prospect of that, then there's going to be the Project Bluebeam stuff with the extraterrestrials and the fictitious threats, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the world needs to get together. We need to drop our differences because we have an even bigger threat going on, and so I think that's the progression I think that's part of the plan, is like get everybody really scared that we're going to be in this big world war, nuclear threats, this, that, and the other thing. Then there's the UFO threat, which is not really a threat, but there's that, and then there's that, and you can go back into the Nixon administration, or even before. I think it was Henry Kissinger, Secretary of State. God, it's been so long ago. But whatever the case, there's documents about a Project Bluebeam, about like a what if, if there was a fictitious threat like War of the Worlds, and that would be a way to gain further control of things. So it's nothing new. None of this is new. It's just being carried out. Back in the day, we used to call it the grand plan when I first started becoming aware of becoming politically aware after my awakening and the process. So there's been an ongoing plan that's been going on for hundreds of years, and look at Project 2030 and all that stuff. And thank you. Yeah, Secretary of State. Thank you. That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what comes up with Anthony Fauci and stuff like that. I mean, not to start any firestorms here, but there's a lot. beneath the surface that's going to get exposed around that, and things that were, handled or mishandled during a specific event that started in 2020 around the world. And then there was the, well, let's see, we'll distance everybody 6 feet. 6 feet, basically. It's like, I'm sorry, but viruses are what we call very, very small, that have virtually no gravity. If I was to take a deep breath and exhale, any virus that I have are going to spread 20 feet from me, not 6 feet. That's just very, very basic biology. And by the way, cloth mask and surgical masks are, again, viruses are very, very small. They go through those. You need the N95s, is that what they're called? And then you have to constantly disinfect them if you don't want to get like a bacterial infection from overuse and stuff like that. So, I'm just citing these things because things are going to start to come out about how things were handled, how they could have been handled, how they should have been handled. But by the way, in Cuba, this communist island that everybody is like, I don't know, down on or criticize it or whatever. They never did it, from my knowledge, from what I understand. They never did the mRNA vaccines. They did the old style vaccine, and they can claim a better track record of controlling infections than most of the world can. So anyway, you can research that. But I've heard that from a couple of sources, or saw that in a couple of sources. Yeah, surgical masks. What surgical masks are for is if a surgeon sneezes or coughs, they're not going to get bacteria in an open wound of a patient. It's not for viruses. That's not what they're for. So anyhow, clearing my mind a second. So we can do a 3-card spread, as I promised. We're almost 40 minutes in. So we can, there's so much to talk about. That's why tarot time's getting longer and longer. There's just so much going on. There's just a lot to talk about. We're doing a 4th card today because this card wanted to come out. So today's a 4-card spread. 4 is the number of Uranus. It's the number of sudden change. It's the number of thinking outside the box. It's also areas of the earth. This just doesn't look as intense as the cards did last week. You guys that were here last week, you might have noticed it. I was saying some big things are going to happen. This is almost like a lot of cleanup, but with this Fool card reverse at the end, I think we're going to see more. We may see towards the end of the week, you have something. I don't think anything that's going to jeopardize the inauguration. Now, a lot of you might have recalled one of the videos I put out. One of the lines in it, I think it's the January forecast, was that the inauguration was in serious jeopardy, and I explained why I felt that way, but also why I felt like, but despite that, he was still going to get inaugurated on time. And so this could be a little bit of chatter around that, but they're not showing me the level of pushback that honestly that I felt was going to happen. So good. Timelines are fluid. Things change. Remember, whatever we feel in the now is everything. When we're truly present in the now, in the moment, we're accessing all times and all possibilities because we start to blend more with the quantum field, rather than, or in other words, we start to soften the focus on just our physical bodies, just the physical, and we start to blend with the infinite, basically. And so what we experience in the now, it's affecting the past and the future. So the more of us that pray, that meditate, that see beautiful things happening, that see the exposures happening in a way that doesn't hurt as many people, the more of us that spread love, compassion, that's changing and shifting the timelines. what happened behind the scenes, from what I understand, is that the Democratic Party was looking at the alleged voter fraud, not just in this election, but they were looking at this election because they lost specifically, not the one they won so much, but there hasn't been a fair election from where I'm sitting for a very long time. And it's like, and I feel like, and I said this in the video, that one of the things that probably came up in meetings is, can we enact the 14th Amendment? It's Donald Trump a threat to national security? Well, there was the January 6th insurgents that he apparently allegedly played a pivotal role in. There was the removal of classified documents from Mar-a-Lago, allegedly, anyways. And my feeling is, and I said this back in November, December, that they're not going to push it too hard, because what happens if voter fraud is exposed? The USA loses a lot of ground in the perception to the rest of the world. It's like, these Americans, they can't even do an election right. Why are we going to listen to them? And I got a lot of pushback myself, people with the negative comments when I said that. I said that a few times, but I think that's what happened. It's like, we know that things happened. We know that things were orchestrated in a certain way, and it could be a lot of different things. It could be that they're all in on it. Like I posted one of the viral shots of Obama and Trump together, kind of laughing like old college buddies that are at a funeral, of course. They're all connected. There's one party from where I'm sitting. There's two parts of that one party that are always going to be fighting. It's always going to be one then the other. It's always going to go back and forth until people wake up and see past that illusion, because nothing really gets done. It perpetuates the same old. Now, this whole thing with this new Donald Trump, the 2.0 version, or I should say the powers behind him, is obliterating. It's leveling the playing field, and it's a whole new order that's coming up. Is it a good thing, or is it a control thing? If you guys want to chime in on that, you can, because I could see it both ways. I could see it being like there's forces that are really trying to free people, that are trying to give power back to the people. But then I could see also the megalomaniac side, at least of the figurehead, aka Donald Trump. And I could see it also being a possibility of a new level of control around the world also. So what do you guys think about that? It's villain or hero or both, basically. But the point being is, it's got to change. And whatever the reason is, as I've been saying for many, many years now, this is the president, the figure, whether by design or just by happenstance, that's going to bring the corruption to the surface. That's going to change everything. That's going to bring awareness, and it's going to help change everything around the world. Again. So, what are you guys saying about that? I'd be, blessed. Star saying that you believe they're all one. I do too. Yeah. Okay. Yes, we can definitely do that for you. Yeah. Yes, yeah, we need to have our healing and spiritual businesses. Lots of prayers to you. All the same. Hug a tree. Hugging trees, you blend energetically with trees and nature and the flow, which links you to spirit, source, or God. So yes, hug a tree. Healing is between our ears. Very good, very good. Maybe clones vitamin E, not heart center or clones. So that's a theory also. And Linda said, didn't they change their minds about free speech? It would be important to know what put into place recently. They stopped the fact checking on social media. I mean, that was a joke to begin with, because it wasn't fact check. It was basically censorship. It's like, oh, this fact is not a fact, so we're going to censor it. But this fact is a fact, so that's okay. Basically, it's like, what fact check? We need to fact check the fact checkers is what we need to do, basically. So what else is saying? There may be not major, but one of the predictions was a financial crash more around February than January. We may be starting to see that, but things have to go down before they get rebuilt. There's a whole agenda of a quantum financial system that starts with getting currency back on the gold or precious metal standard, and then that involves a lot with the AI and the digital currencies also. I'm not an expert, so I'm just giving you a little bit of a synopsis about the ins and outs of the quantum financial system, but it really starts with getting things backed by gold. And one of the things that I've been hearing is that there's going to be like gold-backed cryptos and that kind of a thing. Michael, or anybody that's a little bit more savvy about money and economies, you're definitely welcome to chime in. But then that could be that. But this is a victory card. Basically, it just feels like things are going to come out. These disasters bring out the best and the worst in people. And right now I'm still in the mode. I want to just send love and prayers. I don't want to pay social media with my conspiracy theories, and because I feel like that's doing more harm than good now. I mean, there's a time and a place for that. We need to know the truth, so there's not a repeat of that, and I get that. But right now, it's really about the prayers. It's really about raising our vibrations in the now, and the more of us that do that, and the more often we do it, that's going to change the collective. And this whole transition into New Earth doesn't have to be so doom and gloom, like so much suffering. We can mitigate that to some degree. I mean, things have to happen. People have to wake up, but there's that. But I think we're also seeing in our lives, just try to stay out of family arguments or friend arguments, because people are very charged. One of the things we talked about in the January forecast was that, leading up to the inauguration, we're going to see the divide being more than ever. We're going to see things coming out that are going to push people even further to the edge, that are going to be more about division, more about fighting, more about arguing. And what are we seeing? The Gulf of America. We're seeing, let's take over Canada. Let's take over, no, not take over, but we're seeing this. And to me, they're actors. To me, this is a show. It's not what goes on, the politics behind the show. The friends are enemies, enemies are friends. To me, this is all a show. I mean, he's putting all this stuff out there that's obviously going to stir things up. That's obviously going to create a lot of fear and a lot of panic and a lot of division, obviously. Now, Gulf of America, personally, I would not have a problem with the Gulf of the Americas. That I'd be fine with, because the Gulf of Mexico is Mexico and the U.S. These are the Americas, North and South America. But the Gulf of America, anyway, that's not that important. But I think you see where we're getting at. There seems to be division now. A lot of people are for the Trump agenda, a lot are against. So there's different opinions on that. Is it this is happening because Donald Trump, or what's behind Donald Trump, will say, is doing this to try to wake up the people? Or is it following this New World Order agenda to create more fear, more division, so that things can further be centralized? Honestly, I don't have the answer at this time. I think there may be a little bit of both, to be honest. But whatever the case, it's a calculated thing. And one thing that I want to mention also is that I see a lot of Claudius Caesar going on with Donald Trump. Not to take that the wrong way, because my Roman history is a little bit weak. I haven't studied her for a while, but from my recollection, Claudius turned out to be a ruthless son of a bitch, basically. But he kind of feigned being simple, or not being all here mentally. So he kind of faked that. And I'm not saying, I mean, when I listen to Donald Trump, sometimes I see a lot of intelligence, and sometimes I see, oh my God, what the heck is he saying? It's like, oh yeah, we'll stop the fires in California by going into the forest and cleaning up the dead wood. And it's like, I'm like, hello, there's 170,000 acres of rugged woodland. How are you going to go into that and clean up all the dead wood like in the Sierras? So is this an act? Is it kind of like he's saying things like eating dogs and cats and all the Trumpisms? Is that just an act? I don't know. I'm just putting that out there for you guys. Anyhow, what are you guys saying? So, Michael, that's a little more up on the economy than me. Let me put that back. I believe they are still trying to figure this out. Okay. Technically, Bitcoin doesn't need gold backing if they go that route. We may see digital distributive ledger blockchain technology utilized. That's very interesting. Yeah. And indeed, I mentioned, I believe Trump needs to hold his tongue with his crazy words lately. And my sister lost it. I just let her vent, and then they get, it really brings that out, right? We're talking about tree hug, yeah. NATO has restructured. Hold on. How much depending on the U.S.? Thank you for that. I don't know anything. All right. So anyway, so that's basically that. I'm going to move on because we've got other divination tools. I wanted to move into, maybe get some more. Yeah. The cold's not going to stop me from hugging trees. By the way, I'll put on an extra layer. Interesting. Huh? It does bring the that's an interesting take. Let me actually leave this on long enough so somebody can actually so you can actually read it. 62 watching, 39 likes. All right, so let's get some more. Only 66 watching. Where did those 3 go? I'm just teasing. All right, so this is my Native American tarot. So yeah, if you guys want to like the video, that might help get this information out to more people. So already 52 minutes in. Good luck trying to keep these short, but anyway, so this is called the wish card, the 9 of Cups. What do we wish for? Yeah, peace on earth, everybody getting along, that the agendas come out basically. So it's not doom and gloom. There's a lot of hope, amidst a lot of the challenges. It's funny because I'm seeing like steering a boat now. Look for the waters. We got a Cancerian full moon happening tomorrow, right when the nodes are changing from Libra or Aries Libra to Pisces Virgo. So the nodes are right on the world axis in astrology. When that happens, there's big changes in the world. Now that happened, I don't know the timing, but about every three to 4 years or so. So it's not a huge deal. It's not that strange, but this is the first time it's happened when Pluto was in Aquarius in our lifetime, to 1 degree of Aquarius, no less, which is actually trining and sextiling the nodes. So that Pluto energy is putting extra boom into that. And a lot going on. The outer planets are all changing signs within the next year or two. So, the wish card. But what I'm seeing in this card is I'm seeing community. I see people getting together. I see them doing healing on the figure in the middle of the circle. So if one of the things that we can do, maybe if I think about it, tomorrow we're doing a live transmission with the master teachers for the full moon. When we do the transmissions, we join in meditation, then they activate my fields, and by doing that, they're able to activate your fields to bring higher frequencies through. And one of the things we can do is a healing circle where we can just put everybody in the center. We can start with California and everywhere. We don't hear about the disasters going on in Africa and all. We hear about California. There's so much going on. There was an issue in Bangladesh, I think, recently about flooding. So many people are suffering, getting displaced. California it's bad, it's horrible, but it's not an isolated event. It's going on all over the world right now. We just don't hear. Energy what's the expression? Energy flows where attention goes. So right now, the media, whose job is to direct our energy, is flowing to LA right now. And it before it's flowing to drones, and before that to or fog and drone. It's like they want to keep everybody in fear and panic. And once people get used to one scenario, they're going to bring out something else. That's the agenda, to keep the control, to keep people fighting, to keep them miserable, and to keep them from discovering their own divinity. Because when that happens on a grand level, the cabal is toast, basically, and they know that, and they're getting desperate. So wish. What do we wish for? The full moon is excellent for manifestation, and work on healing. Send healing prayers to those that need it. And that's a lot of people, basically. Yeah. So what are you guys saying? Yeah, the judgment. What's the judgments? Yes. So there's a difference between judgment and discernment, right? When you're judging, it's really like laying, like more of a personal opinion. But discerning is being open and understanding the energies and getting insight that way. There's a big difference. Judgment cuts us off from our ability to discern what's happening in the world, and they want us to judge. So we good catch there. We want to keep out of that. Yeah. So we're down this back like that. Okay, so many scams. Yeah. All right. Just seeing. Yeah. 3,000 souls. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see. So I have this was the Divine Masters Oracle by Kyle Gray. So let's see what Divine Master wants to chime in with us right now. Yeah, I know quite a few people that were displaced by those fires. Yeah. I need to clear my mind. This one, I found my card. My hands are so freaking dry, it's hard to get them. But here we go. Vajra Yogini, transcending fear. Oh, isn't that appropriate? How do we transcend fear? Take a couple deep breaths, get present, go into the heart. Feel grateful just for the now. Feel compassionate, vibrate in the heart. Hearts cannot be programmed. Hearts only know love. That's all that hearts know. The brain, the subconscious knows fear, anger, panic, and all that. So when the heart is feeling that, it's because the brain is actually triggering the heart and bringing the heart out of coherence. And when the heart's out of coherence, we lose our connection with divinity, because the inner heart is one and the same with the outer heart, and that's God's spirit or source. And that's what they don't want. They want to cut that off. That's why all this drama is happening on earth. Let's simplify it. They want to cut that off. So transcending fear, and it says facing fear leads to fearlessness. Embrace your power. Let's be fearless. Understand fear is a survival instinct. Once you get that, then you can transcend your fears. Like, oh, I feel fear because of what's going on in California. Well, my personal life's not in jeopardy, so it's a program. It's not. It's my brain is causing my heart to feel that right now, basically. So when you bring your heart into coherence through love, then it brings the brain into coherence, because studies prove the hearts are much stronger than the brain. And as I often say, the heart is the electromagnetic generator of our body, which is why it's so important. And the brain is the transmitter and receiver of the heart's information. So when we get them in the line, into coherence, then they're doing their job. And then you start to reconnect with your divinity and source. And then your intuition kicks in. Your health starts to improve. Your outlook starts to improve. Your vitality gets better. This is why heart-brain coherence is one of, if not the most important practice for us now. And I'll do some more videos on it. I have a playlist on it. I'll preach it like the gospel, like I'm doing. And do that. It's really going to make a difference. Really, really, really. So So let's move on. I have the Isis Oracle deck here. So let's get a little wisdom from the Egyptians. I don't know why. I like breaking these into 4 piles for maybe for the 4 direction. All right. Oh, it directed me right to the bottom card. I like that. The Brother in Darkness. Did we get this one before? Maybe. Overcoming negative energy with feminine power. That's very interesting. And that's not saying that masculine is dark and feminine is light. So that's not what they're saying here. The feminine power, that is extraordinary, the divine feminine. So I think, if we're in the divine feminine, we're more in that heart energy because it's more of that receptive, more of that spiritual, intuitive side. The divine masculine is more the action principle. And again, you can look at maybe the heart being more of the divine feminine and the brain being more of the divine masculine, but they're blended. There's no duality with that. So again, being more in the nurturing side, in the intuitive side, and the loving side of our nature helps to dismantle that. And it's interesting. I'm seeing the image of a bird carrying wands on their back as I'm talking about that. It looks like a crow, like Ma'at, or Ma'at, however you pronounce that. Goddess of justice to the Egyptians also. I think justice is going to start to be served. I think we're going to start to see that. We brought up Mr. Fauci earlier, that there's significant evidence that's beneath the surface. It starts to come out, it gets squashed. I've seen that a lot. Years ago, I remember there's an anthrax attack on 8 or 9, or white powder. It didn't turn out to be anthrax. Within a day, that story was buried, never heard from again. And that's how the media operates. Again, energy flows where energy flows where attention goes. So the media's job is to focus our attention in one area, so our energy flows in that area. That's not to God, spirit, or source. That's to what are we afraid of in the world. So remember, that's their job. It's to promote the fear. So those that want to control everything continue to control everything. Basically, it's our classroom. It's good versus evil, but it's not in a way, because good and evil came from the same God. Lucifer came from God and the angels, wreaked havoc on the earth. Once that was done, at least in some interpretations of the Bible, Lucifer returned back to God, and the cycle's complete. The age of Kali Yuga ends, basically, and then we come into the golden age, basically. So again, we can't look at it as a bad thing. It's our classroom, it's our learning. And part of the lesson is not buying into that, not buying into the drama, and going back into the unifying field of the heart, basically. So Moonology, got a full moon coming up. What does the Moonology cards have to say about all this? So some of this is due to women lose rights over absolutely. Feminine products, a lot of them are carcinogens, but women are programmed to use them, basically. There's so much attack on femininity on women. It's again, it's part of the grand plan. It's part of that whole separation from source agenda that we're in. But on so many levels, the divine feminine gets attacked. And to me, the birth of the rebirth, I should say. I mean, the emergence might be a better word. A reemergence of the divine feminine happened on the winter solstice in 2010, which to me was the end of the world and the beginning of the world. Because there was a long track lunar eclipse. I told you guys the story already. I was out. It was freezing cold. It was like in the low teens, like 12 degrees out here in the Catskills. I was walking around. The moon was getting smaller. It's getting, and all of a sudden the moon in my mind turned green, and the land turned purple or violet. And right at that moment, I knew the divine feminine being reborn. Right in this moment, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of the change. And it was a 333 day in numerology. 12 to 3, 1 plus 2. 21 to 3, 2 plus 1. 2010 to 3, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0. So after I came in, I went to long meditation, hour and a half, sprung right out of it, looked at my clock, it was 3:33 a.m. And that was my validation that what I received from Spirit was correct. So anyway, moonology. Any of you guys remember that lunar eclipse on the winter solstice? It was 14 years ago, a long time ago. Full moon in Cancer. Wow. No, this was not planned. I pulled this out of random. Full moon in Cancer is tomorrow. A personal issue reaches resolution. So I think they're saying this is a good time to go in the heart, and that you had the opportunity to resolve some personal issue or resolution. It might be an identity thing. It might be a friendship thing. One of the things I didn't touch on, I started to touch on with this set here, was that you watch out for like separation in families with the family card. Watch out for a lot of foolish stuff coming out. A lot of people just really, acting out more than ever. So when you go out, I like to just feel my heart expanding around my body. I want to feel love. I want to be in a bubble of love, see the spirit mirrors reflecting any negative energy around me. And when I approach family or friends that we don't agree, we agree to disagree rather than get nasty and ugly about it. So, the path of the warrior, the spiritual warrior, the path of initiation can be a lonely one, because we recognize that when we come into the world, we come into the world alone. When we die, we leave the world alone. And that we're always alone because we're our own universes, that we interact with the other universes, the other humans. Whether you're partnered or single, we're always alone. But that's not a bad thing, because being alone means that we're not alone. We're one with spirit, source, or God. So there's the dichotomy. The polar opposites are really one and the same. And the thing is that we have to be in our power. We have to be in our truth and our individuality. If people don't like it, we have to be strong enough to be able to withstand other people's negative energies. Ground, be in your heart more, and then you can withstand. Even if you're super empathic like me, you can stand that and stand up for yourself more. So I think a lot of us are being called to stand up for what we believe, for our own values, even if families don't agree with that. We're meant to follow our own path, not necessarily the outworn traditions of the old earth that's falling now, and to follow our own path. So somehow this card maybe go back to that and talk about that a little bit. So moving right along, I've got my medicine cards. Yeah, I don't even have the frequency. Oh, I do. Let's do the frequency, the sacred geometry. Then I'll do the medicine cards and angel card. We'll call it a morning. So anyhow, so this is sacred geometry deck. Okay, went right to the card. Very good. You got realization. So this is all the theme. So the frequency realization supports the internal process of becoming aware of our heart-centered truth, as well as the external process of becoming our highest expression in the world. So when you're in your heart-centered truth, the world outside of yourself starts to reflect that heart-centered truth, and things start to improve in your life, and you start to connect more with positive people and energies. The noise will still be out there because it's part of this reality that we're in. But we start to connect with that. So you can kind of gaze at the sacred geometry. And what are you guys saying? I'm missing a lot of your comments. All by myself. Well, yeah, we're very musical around here. It's 11:11 in St. Louis. That means it's 12:11 here. Huh? Interesting. Okay. Holding snow moon. All right. Very good. Very good. So totem animal from the medicine card. So this is the drawing on North American wildlife. Since it's the native North American. Oh, you're mid-Missouri. You're not in St. Louis. Or is it Missouri? Am I pronouncing it wrong? Missouri or Missouri? 55 in chat. All right. That's a decent sized group this morning. I need to clear my mind. So see if we get a large bird. That's what came to my mind. I don't know if it's like a egret or what. But we got a bat. They're not exactly birds, but they fly. What are bats? Bats are in a way, if you ever see a bat up close, they're actually adorable. They have sonar, right? They navigate through frequency, through energy, through sonar. But but I know there's a book meaning, and then I forgot. I want to look that up for you guys. Changes, yes. I've been listening to a lot of Pink Floyd lately, but I've always listened to a lot of Pink Floyd. Rebirth. Oh, I like that. So why is that rebirth? Steeping in the great mystery of the Mesoamerican tribes. Those of you that are in Missouri or Illinois to that area, there's traces of the Mesoamerican tribals through the mounds, right? I think they were from before the Native Americans. But anyway, ritual is the legend of bat, akin to the ancient Buddhist belief in reincarnation. In Central America, bat is the symbol of rebirth. Interesting. The bat has for centuries been a treasured medicine of the Aztec, Toltec, Tucumán, and Mayan people. Very interesting. So it brings the idea of shamanic death. So this is like another initiation energy as well. Also, so getting ready. This is the end of the snake. Shedding of skin, transmuting poison into medicine. Yes, I love my bats too. Yeah, 2 cats. Ready for snake year? Yes, thank you, blindly inspired. Shedding. Thank you. Yes. So there's more, but you might draw your own symbolism from that. But again, one of the things that they're able to use their sonar, they're able to navigate through intention and rebirth. I like that also because we're in a big rebirth as well, and it's very interesting. Yeah, Mesoamerica. I need to correct myself. That's more like Central and Northern South America, not a timing element. My bad with that. So that's where that legend comes from. I think there's a name for like that period of history before the Native Americans. It sounds similar to that, but that was an error. So last but not least, we have a little quick angel message. Let me clear my mind a second. And tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, powerful energy transmission with the master teachers to reset in these very high energy to this Cancerian full moon. And Merlina, so the message is you are confused and indecisive because you do not have enough information. Do research or seek expert advice before making a decision. So any of you that are wrestling over decisions, maybe do a little bit more research before jumping into things. And I think that's a message. And you guys that chimed in late, we're ending now, so you can go back to the beginning. We covered a lot of ground this morning. And that's what I have for you today. Love you guys. There's dragons in the portals. Yeah, I've been getting more dragons coming through my meditations and stuff like that. Dragons also, it's the fire, right? Fire's a horrible thing. People die, people get misplaced. Terrible, terrible stuff. Anybody that's around California, do a lot of water, a lot of energetic detoxing. The smoke of once it's it's affected by UV, it turns to benzene, formaldehyde, really nasty chemicals. they get trapped within our systems. To do your colonics, do your water, do your nutrition, you have your cleansings and all that stuff. And But what fires do they cleanse? At the end of the day, whatever the agenda, whatever the negativity is, fire cleanses and purges so that the phoenix can rise up out of the ashes. So it's going to be a rebuilding. Hollywood, it's such a symbolic center. And we know that there's a lot that goes on there. I mean, even back in the 20s and 30s, there's a lot of corruption in Hollywood. You can only imagine. We'll just say theories for now, that it's a stronghold of the cabal, the Satanists that are controlling the world, controlling the money and the power. And what happens? It burns down, basically. So not to make light of the suffering, but there may be a higher message around that also. And it's going to lead to a rebirth. So what happens after the dragon comes through, cleanses through fire, the snake sheds their skin. That's the next process that's happening, and transmutes the poisons of these dew attacks, if that's what it was, direct energy weapons, poison that into a medicine, a poison that gets transmuted. So the medicine is that it wakes us up, and it lets us know, it makes us more aware of what's going on, so that we can transcend and reconnect with source. So there you have it. We'll talk about Sasquatches next time. I've actually had Sasquatch encounters, live ones, not just in meditation, but maybe I'll share that story another time. Love you guys. Yeah, purification. Yeah. Oh, before I go, could I just call it this? That's very interesting. Do you happen to know which one? It's one of the chakra points. I know one of the Merkaba points is right where the volcano is on the big island of Hawaii, 19.5 latitude. I forgot the longitude, but that's one of the 8 or 9 Merkaba points in the planet. 3 at the northern, 3 at the southern, and 2 at the poles, I think is how it works out. So that's 8. But anyway, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, look it up. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's okay. We don't have to do it now. All this in your video. Yeah, so I didn't do the channel shout outs today. I like to do that. I'm sorry I didn't do that today, but a lot of you guys have channels, so that's great. Quickly, Doreen's Children's School Yoga, Felicia, Millie, Laura, Josh from Mr. Floyd's Universe, Brooke Van Fleet. I haven't been able to find your channel, but I know you have one. I may be missing a couple of yours. Blindly Inspired, from Frank Shui and Chinese Astrology. That's a YouTube channel. So in any event, base chakra. Okay, so it's interesting because in the I'll quickly share the Sasquatch story. All right, but to answer this, the base chakra or root chakra, I guess, unless the base chakra is different than the root chakra. In the Hawaiian Islands, the big islands, the root chakra, Oahu is the heart chakra, by the way. I think that must make Maui, where the fire was, the sacral. I heard this when I was in Hawaii. But in any event, that's very interesting. So yeah. So it's a Sasquatch story. I was one summer's camping out in the Sierras of California, the Sierra Californias, just maybe 20 miles east of Placerville. So I was in that area. One day, there were 3 different encounters, but the one that was really, really intense. I went up to a hike on the ridge tops that they often did. We set up camp in a gulch by a stream. It's just really quiet that morning. I didn't hear birds. It just eerie. Then I started to hear breathing that was really loud. Really loud breathing. Then it got closer and louder, and it was above me. And then I literally heard footstep. And I mean, I didn't lose a load, but I came really close. That's how scared I was. I'll put it that way. But it took me maybe about 5 or 10 seconds to come around. I was like, all right, whatever this is, if it wanted to kill me, I'd be dead already. So I got out of fear in that moment. And then it happened for a while, went away. The curious thing was I never saw it. And it was so loud. It was within 20 feet, if not within 10 feet. I never saw it. And then I heard it a couple of other times at a distance. And and at that point, I figured I got the sense that was a Sasquatch, and I got the sense either they're just masters of camouflage, or they're interdimensional, or both. But that's my Sasquatch story, anyways. Oh, let me, all right, you guys, we'll stay on for a second longer. Yeah, Yetis, Jersey Devil, they're all over. Yeah, this is in Ohio. Yeah, after the fact. Yeah, they're all over. Yeah, sacral chakra. Okay, so it's the sacral chakra. Interesting. So Millie's saying the 7 Earth chakra points: root chakra, Mount Shasta. Okay, California sacral chakra, Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, I believe is where Lake Titicaca is. Peru, Ploplex, that's interesting. Australia's a heart shot. Very interesting. Wow. Thanks for sharing that information. Yeah. And that does make sense with the sacral chakra, right? The section. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting take. Yeah. All right. Anyway, also Arcturian, Arctic, and Antarctic. Yeah, there's an Arcturian portal and also on the Big Island, and I felt it because I'm an Arcturian starseed. When I was a young child, I used to stare at the globe. Like I had a globe. I stared right at the Big Island. It just somehow drew me when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. I finally went. I've only been there twice. And I just felt like, why would I leave here? This is my home. That was the first thing. Then I went back but in any event, but I felt the energy, the Lemurian, the Arcturian energy, and I learned about the Earth Merkaba axis, the star tetrahedron, within the Earth fields, and that volcano that's one of the longest standing active volcanoes on the planet that's been erupting lately. Also, we can see a lot of volcanic activity, a lot of earthquakes. That one of my predictions was a big earthquake in Southern California. Now, right now, the prediction center is putting out a statement to keep an eye on the next 50 hours of a possible earthquake in that area. Prayers it doesn't happen. I'd rather be wrong, honestly. But whatever the case may be, keep an eye on that also. So anyway, cute little 6-year-old that. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I was a nerd in the making. Yeah, I was like staring at math when I was 6 years old and talking to my cat. Yeah, I had conversations with my cat. I was making up languages. I didn't know anything about language. I was making up languages and speaking in tongues when I was that age. Oh, and by the way, by the time I was 4 years old, I could stand on my head and sit in full lotus. I was doing that when I was 4. I didn't know what yoga meant. I didn't know what that word meant. So, it's interesting how our other lifetimes it's really just one lifetime, and we can go into different aspects of our souls, our soul's lineage. So in chronologically, it's past lifetimes. So, but anyway, obviously I was a yogi in another lifetime, and I'm kind of a yogi in this lifetime too. So anyway, it's all part of the Earth Star chakra activation. Yeah, exactly. That's part of the Earth Star activation field. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Go Pele. Yeah. We love Pele and Loci. Is it or the storms? They're always like interacting with each other. All right, we've been on a long time, guys. We could go on. I love interacting with you guys, but we all have things to do. Yeah, no, I had straight blonde hair. Believe it or not, when I was a little kid, I had straight blonde hair. It was dirty blonde in the winter and platinum blonde in the summer. It was straight. And then when I hit puberty, it got curly and dark. All right, so 44. Yeah, we were all close to 70 at one point. You're the stronghold here. All right, so again, tomorrow at 7, we're going to do some powerful transmission work to help us to align with these new frequencies, so that we don't have problems adapting to the new energies. It's going to happen really, really fast. The energies are changing very, very quickly. Events are accelerating on the earth. This is all forecast by me and probably 1,000 other psychics and prophetic people. More than 1,000, they're saying. Probably 144,000. So it's happening, basically. All right, love you guys. Take care. Happy Sunday.